Mahoney brains, you are back at the spot. This place right here, the location, where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We're going back to Sydney, Australia, the land down under, with Zilla Carina. Zilla is the author of a wonderful book called The Scars We Carry. And her hope is to guide you to living a life that you love. Remember, it is your choice. That's her philosophy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her story, her journey, her truth, and the book. I'm looking so forward to having her here with us on the edge. So let's welcome her brains. How are you, Zilla?
Thank you, April. I am so stoked to be here on the edge with you. It's just, I've been looking forward to this for so many months now, and
I
really
haven't heard
excited.
that word in forever, stoked.
Yeah, it's very common here in Australia.
Oh, really? Oh, I love all your little your sayings like things like you're long in the tooth. That means you're
Yeah.
old brains. Or it's in the boot. That means it's in the
Oh,
trunk.
oh, yeah, it's in
Or
the boot.
when they call women birds, that old bird
Oh no, and chicks.
and chick. But it's great. But I'm so glad to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself to my brains and let them know how you show up in the world?
So my name is Zilla Carina. I was born in Sweden raised by some very nomadic, adventure-seeking parents who both worked in the airline industry. And our heritage traces back to the 1500s, as far as I can see at this point in time. So I still like to think about us as being Vikings and, getting out there in the world and adventuring. So the way I show up in the world is I am an author, speaker, and coach. I coach my clients to getting excellent results in a very short period of time. And I really want to help people to actually, like you said, living the life they love, or a life they love, rather than just meandering and just letting life take them instead of taking charge and
You know,
being positive.
but people have no barometer. They have no sense of direction, no navigation anymore. It's just like things have
No.
gone awry.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think happened? Is it the global warming? Is it the political climate? Is it that we're going through this metamorphosis of change after COVID? We're headed through 5G. What do you think this is? It's causing people just to be so
I,
strange.
I love everything you just said there, because it puts it in a nutshell, because I think it's a combination of all of those, because people are getting so many messages and bombarded with the technology that has exponentially grown in 10 years. Like 10 years ago, even, we didn't have, this much of the technology we have today. So I think everything's coming so thick and fast, and it's too much for people to actually take on, mentally, because it's a constant barrage, and it's all
With
about
this
trying to
artificial
ground.
intelligence,
Yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you guys a little secret, brains. I went ahead and I invested in AI and robotics
Yeah.
because that is where it is.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid of it. Instead of creating a duality with it, this is
Yes.
where it's headed.
I agree with that too, actually, because I have a friend who is also an author and a movie maker, and he touched on this in his movie The Portal. This is Tom Cronin. He's one of my mentors, actually, and he basically went into, in that movie, how they're teaching AI to be more genuine and more, I guess, receptive of people's emotional intelligence, and actually tapping into the emotional intelligence and supporting people to do that. And it was just, I think it's one of those double-edged swords. If you get people who want to abuse it and use it that way, they will. unfortunately.
No, and the things that are
But
going on here in San Diego at the Salk Institute,
mm,
you see things in these scientific movies of these people that are being cloned and in these cylinders and all this kind of stuff. And
mm,
I was just at Disneyland a few weeks ago, and I was seeing just how futuristic everything is, and
mm, yeah,
from collecting the tickets to uh, the robotics preparing the food. It's a very different time,
it
but
is a very good time.
there are
Mm.
still scars that we carry.
Oh,
They
yes.
are epigenetic, and you wrote a book about it. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my book is based on both my own experience and how I went through diversity and just so much trauma and, you know, all of the rest of it. Yeah, domestic violence, the whole gambit. I was married 3 times, and
No.
each time I learned something new.
Well, I have to say this. There's some ladies that can't get a date, and you found 3 husbands. So I mean, they may not have been the best, but I mean, you still are a fine kettle of fish.
Oh yeah, but I know what I'm looking for now.
Mm,
And this is one of the things that being married 3 times, it taught me. And it was each time I got the message: listen to your intuition, listen to your intuition, listen to your intuition. And it wasn't until the third time I actually heard it.
right, 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 right.
Yeah.
Did
And
you
so the
did you kind of
scars. Sorry.
I'm sorry, did you kind of have some of the same patterns, same MO? Were you drawn to the same kind of person? Or did you try something a little bit different, but just didn't, again, listen to the signs?
Yeah, I tried something different. My first husband I was married to when I was 28, so I wasn't young,
Mhm.
and I was very educated and good at my job and professional, all that kind of stuff, and really thought that I had it all together. And but again, it was when he unexpectedly proposed. I kind of thought, well, oh, I thought we were breaking up, not going to get married.
Mm, mm,
But we were best friends and we were really good together, but there was something missing. But I thought, oh no, I love him, he loves me, we can make this work. And so, we were together for 10 years. And then, ultimately it just didn't work. And, hard decisions had to be made, and I moved on. And then I moved on too quickly, though, and met my daughter's father. And he ended up being very much, what you saw on the outside wasn't on the inside. And he was very abusive, he was very mean and controlling, and it was just a horrendous 6 years of my life. And then post the breakup, my daughter wasn't even 2. He then proceeded to go through the whole court system and blamed me and said I was the abusive one, and all of that. And so lots of scars collected there. And then I met my third husband, and I thought, "Oh, I got it right this time. I got it right this time. This is fantastic." And, we kicked everything off, and it was great. We were together for 17 years. So, it was a good
mm.
relationship,
Good run.
but it just didn't work because our paths and our values weren't on the same line. And every time I kept thinking that I was trying to talk about it, but he just wasn't really wanting to talk about it because it went too deep. I think the scars were too deep for him on
Right.
whatever levels.
And a lot
And
of times, men are, though, I can't say they are evolving.
they are
And
definitely.
I
And
can only speak for my culture.
mm,
Black people as a whole really didn't buy into the whole therapy thing. We look
mm,
to our ancestors, our grandparents, or our parents, or our godparents, or the pastor of the church. But to actually sit in an office with a therapist or psychotherapy or whatever, that just
mm,
kind of wasn't the norm. And
yeah,
so that, in conjunction with a strong Black man having these titles or isms
mm,
against him, really pushed him back. So
yeah,
it
yeah,
was very, very difficult. But
yeah.
now I'm really seeing and I'm hearing. I talked to a friend of mine the other day, and he told me how he cried in his therapist's office. And I
Mm,
said, "You went to therapy?" He goes, "Yes." He said, "I went for many years and I
mm,
feel a lot better now." So, men as a whole are really kind of wanting to open up because,
yeah,
a key indicator too is mommy issues.
yes, yeah,
They hold
yeah,
their mother on a pedestal.
yeah, yeah.
Sheila,
And
they hold them on a pedestal, and you let anything come in between what you think a mother should be, do, have, whatever.
yeah,
It's a key indicator on how they're going to treat their women or their daughter. Do you see that?
absolutely. I've got a 15-year-old son,
Mm,
and I'm trying to teach him how to think, not what to think. How
right.
do you think that will affect other people? How will it affect you? Be true to yourself, all that stuff. How do you, you just, and he's a beautiful human being, and both my children are, they've just grown up really nice. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the mother, but
Oh,
everyone says it, it's like, oh my gosh. And I'm so proud of both of them. But it's particularly with men because I see that all the time. And the bond between a mother and her son is very strong. But it doesn't mean to say that you have to mollycoddle them and do everything for them. I was teaching both my children how to tie their own shoelaces as soon as they were able to, do it,
exactly.
work their fingers. And I've taught my son how to do his own washing. He loves cooking. He's like, oh, I'll cook, for you, what would you like, sort of thing. And he likes experimenting, and he's really listening to his own self as well, his own intuition.
But it's very
And
difficult for a woman too to raise a man. There's just a certain skill set and a certain, savoir faire that we don't hold. And
yeah,
that's an all transparency. That's not trying to say that you're not doing a fine job. You're doing an excellent job. Um,
yeah,
and teaching them to be compassionate and understanding and respectful and loving themselves, and
that's it, that's
how to
key.
treat a woman.
Yeah.
That's very important. But you
Mm.
see some of these women that are just really, they're hard chargers. I'll
Oh
go
yeah.
back, I'll go back to the African American community because that's really what I can speak to. In the 1970s, early 80s, there was an influx here in the United States of the crack epidemic.
Oh yeah.
And so many Black men got strung up in that. And
Yeah.
so the woman became the head of the household. She wasn't putting up with that mess. You're not coming home. You're out doing this, doing that, and then you're robbing and stealing to get this drug. I don't want you here. So they emasculated the man.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
now for him to come back and find his place and to be honored.
Yeah. It's a challenge for them. It's a real challenge. And I have a lot of male clients that I coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm coaching them back to themselves, to love themselves and to find to actually pinpoint, okay, well, what are your values? What do you really value? Because without your values and honoring those top, 3, 4, 5 values, you lose your way, you lose your compass, you don't know what your direction is. But you need to lay those foundations. And that's really where I find it really works for particularly, all my male clients, where they've had this problem where they don't know which way to go. They don't know, they're unclear,
Right.
and it's really about really teaching them how to hone in on their values, follow their guidelines and their compass, their internal compass.
And
And
they don't want to
yeah,
be considered soft or a sissy. You know,
no,
they
but it's
don't
not.
cry. But I think about this too, that when we are brought into this world, it's a challenge and it's
Mm,
very abusive from the get-go. I mean, you're coming between urination, defecation puddle in a puddle of slime and mucus. And then when you come out, corporal punishment, somebody dumps you
oh,
or
yeah,
or spanks your bottom. So it's traumatic from the get-go. But then
yeah.
when you come here, I've noticed that now there of course it's always been this way, that you are defined your gender role.
Mm,
Girls
mm,
do this
mm.
XYZ, boys do this XYZ. but it has been clinically proven that you can be two X's and a Y or two Y's and an X. And now
Yes.
the kids don't even want to identify with that. They want to be non-binary. I
Yeah.
don't understand where the world is going. And that's causing additional trauma because parents have expectations.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
my daughter's gonna marry this fine, upstanding lawyer and get the beautiful house with all the acreage,
Yeah.
having 2 or 3 grandkids, and
Yeah.
she wants nothing
No,
to do with that.
exactly. No, it's about, geez, you got to let your kids be who they are. You
Mm,
can't, you just don't know who they are. They are who they are. They're so different, even though they're your child, they're so different from you. You can't have those expectations on them. I
but
think
you know
it's,
what's scary is we don't know what they are either. So we're trying as
mm,
parents to navigate this,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you want them to look at you for your courage and for your
mm,
respect, but you also want them to have a deep sense of independence. How
yes.
did you get into this uh, coaching to begin with? And what is your ROI? Why do you really want to do it?
So of course, when you go into coaching, probably 99% people who go into coaching is because they want to help other people who've gone through a similar experience that they have. So they, you know, for me, I had been through so much. And so for over such a long period of time, I needed to actually do the coaching, because when you do coaching training, you're actually learning and you're coaching yourself. So you're doing it to first heal. And then once you've gone through a certain period of time and, you start coaching, it's so cathartic. And so that's why I went into it. And for me to be able to help other people, that's my ROI. I just love seeing the lights go on and people just, they start vibrating again. They start buzzing and they start smiling and they start feeling good and they start being vulnerable and they really start just releasing and letting go. And that's one of my key messages, is that you're not defined by your past, you're defined by your choices. So you can choose to stay in the past and live there, or you can choose to go, right, I did that. Yeah, it was pretty crap, but I choose now to move forward. How do I do that? And that's what my book, the crux of my book, is all about: healing the self. So I want people to start to heal themselves. And nothing gives me more joy than seeing people light up.
Can I ask you a question in all
Yeah.
transparency?
Yes.
Are you at the place that you want to be? Not
Yes.
outside of there. You know what you want. You're in a good space now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then that's important because I
I,
ask that because it's hard to keep pouring what we have in the other individuals and not refilling our
yeah,
coffee. Can't
absolutely.
pour
And
from
that,
an empty coffee. And
yeah.
sometimes, as you said, a lot of people do coaching, training. They turn to psychologists, psychiatrists, because they're also trying to heal. And through the
Absolutely.
work that they do,
Mm.
but on that same token, some people get so engaged and so involved that they get convoluted and they get confused. They can't separate their stuff.
That's right.
They
That's so
find
true.
themselves they find themselves repeating the same old patterns that they thought they had gotten rid of. So I'm
Mm.
glad to know that you're clear. Tell us,
Yeah.
tell us what is inside the pages of the scars we carry.
Oh, so the scars. It's a journey through, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to use the term, but I will. Enlightenment, in
Okay.
terms of going through, they don't have to do exactly anything like I have been through, but it goes through trauma, and it goes through, that's why I use the scars, because it's all about, as you move through life, you collect scars and then they just kind of build up and they build up and they build up. And it's all about using these scars as stepping stones to actually step into the future. And so you don't do it all at once. You can't do it all at once, because it's all about healing the self, and you have to go through, a certain amount of, stepping stones basically, and you grow, and then you build on that. But the most important thing is laying the foundation so that you don't go back, which is what you touched on there. A lot of people do go backwards and start repeating. So I'm all about laying those foundations. So this book, whilst it goes through some of what I've been through and my life journey and what I've learned from it, but now it's also giving people a little roadmap to actually start their own journey of healing.
Great. I am so excited about the book is that I would love for you to share with our brains a small excerpt of the book and what we have to look forward to it as we purchase it.
Sure thing, April. Thank you for inviting me to do that. It's very lovely. Okay, so I'm thinking this excerpt, it's so hard to choose where to read from, but I'll try this one. So this is chapter 6, and it's called The Vortex. And there's a quote by Louise Hay: "I am happy, calm, and peaceful inside. I now more than ever before in my life believe that all our lives are meant to evolve, but it can and will only happen if we choose it to. It evolves each time we feel uncomfortable in our own skin, and the more discomfort we feel, the more we grow. However, it will not grow if we bury the lessons and revert to our comfort zones. The key here is to make a conscious choice to do something that absolutely scares the bejesus out of you. There is a reason why we encounter these pivotal points of discomfort and pain and trauma. They are messages that something is not right in our life, and we need to find out what the message is and choose to change or take a different path. Some may take the route of the tortoise and hide themselves within their safety of their shells, and some will squirm at the mere thought of doing something new, but consciously choose to lean into the discomfort and evolve. Each to their own, I have always said, but I truly believe there is no time left to stubbornly dig your heels in and pretend like everything is fine. It's not.
Well, it is what it is, and the struggle is real. I tell people that all the time. Two things that I want to talk about is, again, at the beginning of our conversation, we talked about 5G. We talked about the lunar vortex. We talked about this evolution of change that we have to get in line or we're going to get left behind. And I think
Absolutely.
I told you, Scylla, did I ever tell you about my Louise Hay story?
No, I don't think you did. Or maybe you did.
Well,
Remind me.
let me tell you this real quick. I was at a work conference and I had
Yeah.
on my red bottom shoes. And you know, they may be cute, but they make your feet hurt. I step
Yeah.
outside and I get some reflexology, and the reflexologist said, "Oh, I'd love for you to be one of my clients. Why don't you come to my house and, be one of my clients in my studio?" I'm sitting next to this lady when I get there. She's pouring into me like a river. I cannot believe this for like 45 minutes. And I get up very unassumingly and I go to pay the gentleman. And he goes, "You're very lucky." And I said, "Why?" He says, "You just had a personal one on one with the great Louise Hayes."
Wow.
I know, I was in awe. And I was just, but I still remember some of the things that she told me about being calm, about being present, about being in the moment, about, being accountable. And it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's okay to revisit them, but
Yeah.
you can revisit them, but you don't have to relive them. You can
That's it.
redesign them. You can reframe them. And I still remember that to this day. So
Mm,
again, you quoting her inside your book, you're going through the journey, you've been there, you're working
mm,
with people, I think
yeah.
is so valuable. And I thank
Oh,
you for that because you could have just said, "You know what, I'm going to keep this all bottled up here inside, and I'm just not going to not think about it." But you also have taken on a new career. you are now working with individuals that are starting their first literary journey and writing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So during my own journey of writing the book, I signed up with a company, and they're a self-publishing, assisted or guided self-publishing company. And they, as part of just, it came out of the blue, really. And they asked if I'd like to join their team as a book strategist and help mentor and guide new authors into becoming a published author themselves. So it's
Give
been a
our listeners
whirlwind.
one or two tips as to what that looks like.
Oh gosh. So the first thing is if you're someone out there, and I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who want to write your own book, the first thing is to look at what your key values are, your top 3 values. If writing a book is in those top 3, move it to the top for a temporary period, write your book and be done with it. And then you can either revisit or do that. But it's really, if you're going to write a book, it has to be at the top end of your values. Otherwise, it just won't get done because something else will just come in the way. And so full transparency, I've been wanting to write a book since I was in my 20s, and I'm nearly 60 now. And I'm like, whoa, it's about time.
But
So,
again, I say this too, as an author of 3 books. There's
mm,
a couple things that I like for people to consider is that you don't have to put it in chronological order. Just write.
that's
Just
it.
write. Understand what you want to write. Maybe do some research on it. Be, as transparent as you like, but create something that's unique and different.
Yes.
People don't want the same old wah, 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 wah.
I
Think
know.
of
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
futuristic. Think of something in the past. Think of something
Mhm.
that, one of my favorite books, it's a business book, but it's Who Moves Your Cheese?
Oh, yes. I love
I
that book.
love that book. And I'm telling
Oh,
you, it's so simplistic, but it's about a little mouse. And, who moves your cheese? Who's your motivator? Who's your inspiration? What
mm,
is it? What are the holes and pitfalls that you're going to fall
yeah.
through? So you
And
have
that
to be creative with that. And that is what Sila is wonderful at, is helping you strategize,
mm,
looking at it from a fresh set of eyes.
100%. Yeah. And it is because it's very difficult to know where to start with, because more often than not, you've got 100 different ideas going through your brain and you want to write this and you want to write that. So the key is really, if you've got more than one book inside you, park the other books, pick the one that sings to you the most, and really start by thinking, okay, well, don't worry about the title, don't worry about the detail. Think about, well, so we encourage 12 chapters.
Mhm.
And so think about those 12 main things or events or what you learned, or whatever it is. Think of the 12 main things within, and then you start doing dot points, and then you start filling in the gaps. Then you can just stop thinking and just start writing, you know,
And
just,
find a good editor brains. But
yes.
I say, me
Mm.
personally, I say think beyond just the text. Maybe you want to do an audio
Oh,
book. Maybe you want to start breaking this down into bite-sized pieces and create an online course. Maybe you
absolutely.
want to do monologues. Maybe this could be a screenplay. Um, Maybe it could be a self-help book. There's so many opportunities that
Really.
you can
Yeah,
take this one piece of work and
that's right.
evolve. It could be a
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah,
You never
yeah.
know. So don't stop. Don't stop till you get enough. And
That's right.
work with a strategist, because that's what she's going to do. She's going to help you see things that you have never seen before. But what I want to
Mm.
do, Sela, is really have some fun with you and ask you some questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure thing. Go ahead.
All right. So let's see. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance
Yeah.
would you be and why?
Oh, my coffee percolator. Because it's beautiful and hot and black in the morning.
All
It's just
right.
lovely.
I
Yeah. And
love it. I love it.
the aromas.
I want to be the air fryer.
Ah, ooh, cooking up a
Makes it
storm.
well. It takes a little bit of oil. It keeps things crispy and juicy. It's
Mm.
efficient and easy to clean.
Yes.
If you were a flower in the garden, what flower
Mm.
would you
Frangipani.
be? Hmm.
Mm. I love frangipani. It's my favorite, especially the yellow ones, because they're just so bright, beautiful, and they just make you feel good. And they just, you smell them and you just get a beautiful sense of just calm and peace. And yeah.
That's beautiful. If
Mm.
you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Oh gosh. What would I be? I think I'm going to have to go with the koala.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to cuddle a
Oh,
koala.
yeah. In Australia, I've had a chance to hug one.
Right. Because, they're very soft
They are.
and they've got claws if they need them. But they're also very chill and they like to just watch.
Right. Very
I
observant.
love very observant and just very,
They don't
yeah,
create a whole lot of fuss, which is good.
no,
And that's
no.
that's beautiful. That seems like that would fit your personality. If you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
Okay. I I don't think it exists as yet, but I would like to be a white convertible electric Mustang.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, they're slick and quick and they're fast. They're
Mm.
strong. They got a lot of horsepower.
Mm.
They got a lot of
Yeah.
horsepower. They got that
Yeah. I
they got
can,
that get up and go.
that's what I like. Yeah. It's kind of like, well, all you got to do is press the gas and off you go.
Mhm. We
You know,
talked a
and
little bit
that's,
about you and your relationship with your son, but what values are you pouring into your daughter as a woman
oh,
going into the
wow.
22nd century? That's a
Yeah.
lot.
My daughter she's an absolute inspiration, despite what she's been through with her biological father. And she, I just pour absolutely unconditional love. I pour enthusiasm and just try and hold her without holding on to her. I just want to hold her and lift her up and just make sure that she's living the life that she's going to love.
And a
And
life that she deserves.
absolutely, that's it. Yes. And so I try.
We have to find that
Mm,
self-worthiness.
that's it.
That can't
Yeah.
be from outside influences. It can't be from a guy telling you, "Oh, I think you're beautiful," and you
Yeah,
know,
no,
let's
she's,
run
yeah.
off and make love and all this kind of stuff. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know to listen, like you said, to your intuition.
Mm,
You have to
yeah.
rely on your mother's wisdom. My mother was, to the day she died, 91 years old. We were peanut butter and jelly, and I
Oh,
trusted her. And that
yeah.
is the biggest thing. Is a lot of parents now they forget that the word trust is conditional. I
Mm,
If you
mm,
don't do XYZ, I don't trust you. If you don't fall in line, I don't trust you. You've done something in violation of what we said, so now there's no trust. But you know
mm,
what? Don't have me beholden to that word. Show
mm,
me that, if I tell you something in confidence, I tell my daughter to this day, there's still going to be consequences.
mm.
But I want you
Yeah,
to be honest with me because if you're honest with me, you're honest with yourself.
yeah, that's
And
it.
once you
Yeah.
learn that one lesson, trust me, you won't go back there again.
Oh,
You won't
it's
go back.
so true. So true. I'm totally aligned with that. And that's one of the key messages in my book is, you know, be truthful, tell the truth, because if you can't tell yourself the truth, you're going to lie to everybody else. You're going to be something that you're not. You're going to, it's so important to tell yourself the truth and also own your truth.
Oh,
You know, you have to say, well, yeah, even though this all things were part of my life, but I had a part to play in that. I chose to stay. I chose those things.
right,
I didn't have to choose those things.
right.
I
But
knew,
until
but
we
I,
Until we
Mm.
know better, we can't do better.
No, that's right.
And
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's difficult, and it is. You got to put on your big girl panties when you start accepting responsibility for your actions, because there's going to be a lot of outside influences. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to inject a lot of mess into
Yeah.
your life. They're going to tell you a whole bunch of things that are not true. But along those same lines, there's going to be people that are going to be your advocate, that are going to
Oh,
be your supporter, that's going to be your cheerleader. And so what we have to learn to do at
mm.
15, 16, 25, 45, 65 is edit and filter. We know
Yeah,
innately what feels good inside. I had someone
that's
tell
right.
me not too long ago that they didn't know what love was or what love felt like. And that was pretty scary.
Wow.
That was pretty
Love's
scary.
right. Yeah.
You
Love's
know,
an inside job.
it is an inside job, but if you don't know what
Mm.
bad feels like, you won't know what good feels like.
Yeah.
If you don't taste it, you don't know if it tastes good or if it's nasty.
Yeah.
So it is trial and error, but please don't keep repeating these same old patterns of, you know, things, thinking that you're going. What is that? What did Einstein say about
Oh, the definition of insanity.
yeah, definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Absolutely, is doing the
It's,
same thing expecting a different result, and
yes,
it's not happening.
that's right.
But
Exactly.
again, with coaching, training, you can reframe these things. You
Absolutely.
to a certain
Yeah.
point. I know I was with my mentor, and I told her something was going to happen, and she goes, "Well, why do you think that?" I said, "Oh, because it happened before." She says, "Okay, so you're taking that same experience into a new situation with you, expecting the same result." She says, "I want you to go in with a new mindset. I want you to talk to yourself. I want you to reframe it." And I came out smelling like a rose.
I love it. Yeah, it's so true. It's like, and that's something that, with the coaching that I teach is, you've got your triggers, you've got your meaning that you attach to the trigger, and then you get the result. Now, if you keep attaching the same meaning to that trigger, you're going to get the same result.
Mhm.
But if you attach a new meaning to that trigger, you'll get a different result and a much better one. So it's about exactly what you just said.
But you know what I think the biggest thing is? You got to want it, and you got to show up and do the work. That's
Yes.
that's with anything. That's with weight loss, that's with relationships,
Mm-hmm.
that's with finance.
Mm-hmm.
You've really got to want it. And if you
Absolutely.
really want it, and you have to be specific,
Mm-hmm.
have to be
Yep.
specific down to, almost the fingernails, what this is going to do for you. How is it going to raise you to your highest and greatest good?
Mm.
What
Yes.
else is possible? How can it get any better than this? These are the conversations that you need to say, and the mantras that you need to look in the mirror and say every day. And believe me and Scylla know,
Mm-hmm.
we know that this are game changers. These are
Yeah.
game changers. I mean, look at the look on her face. And she says she's almost 60. Who believes Couldn't believe
Oh,
that. She just come up with a brand new career, the release of the book. She's single, free to mingle. Life is
oh,
good.
yeah.
You're living your best life right now, and I'm so proud of you. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you. I want them to have a consultation, work with you, and purchase the book.
Yeah. So my website is www.zillacarina.com. Pretty easy. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, it's just Zilla Carina. There's only one of me,
Okay. Well,
you
that's
know.
all that there needs to be, because you
Yeah.
can't reproduce perfection now, can you?
And can I send you my link for the pre-sale is still open at the moment. It won't be open for that much longer, but I'll send you the link for the pre-sale of the book, and
Yes.
that'll tell
And
you
brains,
if
I need
if
you to go
anyone
in
is
and
keen.
support that. Make that one of Amazon's top sellers. It's
Yes.
really important. Go in and write a review. Put some questions and some comments in there. If you don't get it, that's okay. We'll explain to you over and over again. But if you get it, be sure to document that as well, because it's important. If you have questions, Scylla is going to write another book.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got another 4 to write at this point.
See, it's ever evolving. If you need assistance with book strategy. Everyone has a book inside of them. You always hear
Oh,
that all the time. So what
yeah.
I suggest is you explore that. If you're maybe not ready to write it now, maybe you go back and look at your journals, or maybe there's something that you're pinning or something in the future, but at least have a blueprint. Mission. What is your cause? What is your purpose? Why are you doing this?
The underlying dream of mine is to have an impact on a global basis. So I strongly believe that if we can heal ourselves first, we will heal the people around us, our communities, our countries, and subsequently the planet. And it all comes from when I did my environmental science degree. I'm thinking, I've got to do something here. I've got to make a difference. I just want to have some sort of impact. And so that is my ultimate dream, is to actually, and for the planet, for the human race, really, it's like we have to learn to live more in sync with the planet than we do at the moment. And that crosses all parts, political, environmental, just the way we are, yeah, there's so many things to do, but we have to heal ourselves first, which is why The Scars We Carry is book number 1, and it's got some really good first steps. And also there's a free gift inside as well from me to you,
Well,
and part of that. So yeah.
we definitely need to um, heal the scars, not just put a band-aid on them,
Um,
not let them, don't let them get infected. Don't
that's right.
pretend that they don't exist again. And you will be able. Sometimes people say heal. I don't know if I really fall into that. I say that we're able to deal.
Yeah, I agree. I
Like
agree.
someone, you
Mm.
might get an incision and
Mm,
you grow scar tissue.
that's right.
The tissue
Yeah.
comes back, but it's still scarred. But those scars are, um, they're battle wounds. There are
Mm,
learned lessons. They are, you're tried and true at
that's
this
it.
point.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
why I call them the stepping stones.
absolutely,
They are what, and we can go back and we can visit them, but we don't want to go back and live there. But we have to honor what we've been through and absolutely learn from those things and
glad
just
that you've made that
acknowledge.
transition.
Yeah.
It's a big undertaking.
Yes, I know, but you got to start somewhere. And there's a lot of people like yourself who believe in the same thing. So the more people that believe in it, we will start a change. You
Absolutely.
know, it's happening.
Change is gonna come.
It is. It's happening. So yeah.
Have a strategy, and she would be the perfect person to work with. So I need you to
Thank you.
go in. Thank you. I want you to love, like, share, and subscribe here on the Edge. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Follow Scylla on social media. I'm going to put all of her contact information down at the bottom in the show notes, as well as when the book is released. We're going to put that out, and we are going to put it in the back of the interview because it's so important that we provide you information so that you grow and evolve as a human being on this planet. Thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, April. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Brains, have a good day. Take care of yourself.